Welcome to this beautiful clear morning here in West Yorkshire. I'm at one of my local sites close to home, and I'm hoping to get some geese today, some geese in flight. You might be able to hear some of the geese in the background. It's about 6:30 in the morning, so before sunrise. Any time now the geese are going to come and hopefully get some shots. They're coming now. There's a small group coming. I have no idea if you're going to get it on camera, but we'll try. Yeah, what I'm getting is okay, but it's not earth-shattering. But I've got a bit of a blur to the wings, which is what I want. I'm using shutter priority, which I hardly ever do. I know I'll probably always tell you not to use shutter priority, but today I am. But the reason for that is I want to be in total control of the shutter speed. So if I was on aperture priority, then I just want a fast shutter speed, but I'm not too concerned with exactly what it is, as long as it's fast enough. But today I actually want to pick my shutter speed. I want to know specifically what that shutter speed is, because that's what I want to work with and change it for different effects. At the moment I'm trying a 60th of a second on auto ISO. So the ISO is going to change, but then also the aperture potentially is going to change as well. But if I'm panning, trying to get the blur shots, then the aperture isn't as important because it's going to blur anyway. Yeah, I can see there is an effect with the cloud, so it's kind of giving like a bit of a streaky background, which you just wouldn't be able to get if it was completely clear. So the cloud can definitely work in your favour at times, certainly for this kind of thing. Oh, get in. That was good. That was good. I think it was, but just a bit of light. I've no idea if the camera can see me. Just a bit of light coming through and lighting up the birds. That was a bonus. Oh wow, that is cool. I've underexposed it a bit. I knocked down the overexposure because the light was coming, but I didn't really need to do that, so it's just a little bit underexposed, but nothing too major. Really nice effect. Bit of blurring from the wings, but also some light on the birds. That's helping to separate it from the background as well. Not bad. You might notice me turn the camera around. This is the thing with geese, because they're so awkward when they fly in the flocks and they kind of group together and separate, and it's just so hard to compose a shot. So I'm usually shooting horizontally, but then I could see just from the formation and the way it was changing that a vertical was going to work better. So I just threw the camera around as a vertical, and that was definitely better composition, but it's not an easy thing to do. So at the moment I am on TV, which is shutter priority, and I've got a 60th of a second, and I'm also on auto ISO, and you'll see I'm also overexposing by +1. The reason for that is if I'm shooting in the mist or against the sky, I think the camera can just underexpose a bit too much at times, so I prefer just a bit more overexposure, and that gives me like really good consistent exposure most of the time. So what's happening with shutter priority, it's on automatic ISO. So if it's darker, like a darker background, and the ISO's going up to a maximum of 3200, which is the limit I've set for now. If I'm shooting against a lighter area like the sky, for example, then to make it darker, the ISO is going to come down, and then it's actually going to go to the aperture. If it needs to make it any darker, it's going to use a smaller aperture, so it's going to go down to f8, f11, and then potentially even more. So it works okay. As I say, I hardly ever use this, but I want to pick specific shutter speed and know that shutter speed I've got, which is why I'm using it today. That was amazing. A wood pigeon just shot up somewhere from in the grass, like by the path, and it just flew very slowly right across, but it actually flew behind the vlogging camera and the tripod, which made it a little bit easy, a little bit difficult for me to follow, so I kind of had to stop shooting when the tripod was in the way. I mentioned these geese earlier, and they're still there. A small group of Canada geese out there sort of on a marshy area, so I'm going to go down there, like I said, just on the off chance, because if they take off at some point I can actually get really close to them. I'm not going to disturb them, but I can get close enough if they take off that potentially I could get some of those flight shots and some of that motion blur. Here are the geese that I was talking about. There's probably a good 20 or so, maybe more out there. I wonder whether to wait here. I just love this time of year, just that feeling of crispness in the air. Those geese sound like they're going to take off. I'm going to risk it. Yeah, I hate the summer. When it starts getting colder, I just absolutely love it. And this place on an autumn morning is just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely love it. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did take off, didn't they? But they took off completely the wrong direction. So they took off away from me. Actually, the first ones took off kind of sideways, slightly behind. Tried to grab a couple of shots, and then these ones just took off basically completely away from me. So there's nothing I could do with them. There's still a few left. You know, sometimes it's best just to pick a spot and stay there. So I think that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to pick a spot that looks kind of photogenic. I'm just going to wait to see if I get any birds fly past. I just missed a flock of lapwings because I was messing about with the camera, but I did hear a kingfisher, which is a bonus as well, which is quite common down here first thing in the morning, just to hear that. There it goes. I think it was. Anyway, yeah, that sort of shrill, high-pitched call which they have, it's really noticeable. Yep, I can hear him. There's a heron on one of these posts on this water channel, really close, stood on the top of the post. So I'm trying to stay really quiet and behind these bushes. I need to up my shutter speed. It's still there. I can't film this, it's impossible. I need 3 hands. And it's flown off. So those geese have completely gone now. The ones that were left have flown off, and they literally flew as far away from me as they could. If they couldn't have flown any further away from me if they tried. So let me know what you think. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like it. I like experimenting, just trying to be more creative. Keeps things fresh, having a little bit of a change. What is that? It's another pigeon. That was my camera. I'd balanced it on top of my bag, which is not a really smart thing to do. So yeah, if you're someone who drops things regularly, then I'd highly recommend a Canon 1DX. I think I'm going to call this video probably something like shooting everything at 1/60th of a second, because that's all I apparently did. So I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to change shutter speed and experiment, but it wasn't one of those days where I could really do that. And you just can't assume anything with wildlife photography. You just can't. And that's one of the things. I'm just trying not to worry as much about the image and what I want to do. Come out here, and it's really more about the experience. It's about enjoying the experience and appreciating where I am and the sights and the sounds of everything, not just the photography, and sharing that with you out there, everybody who watches this channel. So I'm just going to say a massive thank you to everyone out there who does watch and subscribes, and particularly people who take the time to comment. Really appreciate that. Magically a video is going to appear up here somewhere, and this is to a video I made a few years ago, and it's probably up there with one of my favourites in terms of vlogs, because I think it's just a really natural in the field vlog. It's got some great conditions, great atmosphere, and achieved some fairly decent images as well, so that might be good for you. And if you're not subscribed, then click on the face that's next to my face. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.